Okay, everybody always is a genius at EVs, okay?
Right.
I always give you a hard time for driving EV. When you said I'm getting a Tesla, I'm like, what the fuck
I get
is
the gay
wrong?
jokes every day. You, your son, your wife. Like, everybody's sending me the jokes.
So you got the car. What model is the car?
The one was a Model S. I'm sorry, Model 3.
The Model 3,
Yep.
okay? You're like, wow, I got this, it's this. I'm like, yeah, you're still gay. You drive an EV.
Yeah.
But now you have the Cybertruck.
Yeah.
And now you've driven that Model 3 to Texas, pulling a
50,000
trailer.
miles in less than a year.
Yeah, you went to, I remember you like hooked a trailer to
Yeah.
it and took it to Texas, was
Yeah.
it? So that car, you've proven you can actually
Oh,
talk the talk. You're not talking shit. You're not armchair quarterbacking. Let's
Right.
hear about charging, how far you can go. People saying your car is, when it's cold out, you're screwed. You're not going. Let's hear about all
cover
that.
all that. So first of all, though I went to school for electrical engineering and I know how amazing motors are, I did not want an electric vehicle. I wanted the driving system. I have something called dystonia that creates a tremendous amount of pain in my neck and my shoulders. Long story, but it's bad. So if I drive even a few hours, I'm trashed for a week. I just hurt, I cramp, my neck hurts, I get headaches. So I just wanted the self-driving, and they didn't have the self-driving in any other car. So I bought the low-cost Model 3, which is tremendous for the cost. Can't believe it. And I was just shocked. It's like when the Apple phone, iPhones came out, and using a phone was so easy. Like, they're known for just everything just one touch away and anticipating what you need. You never need power. It's as slow or as fast as you want. It's always warm when you get in the car. They do tell you when to charge. There's plenty of range. I put that little trailer on there out of the wind foil, drove all the way to Texas, didn't adjust anything. And we had 3.5, 4 hour drives with that trailer on. It's not like it cut the range significantly that I could notice. Now, it wasn't a big trailer because I knew that a big trailer would cause a problem in the wind, but it was, 4 or 5 feet off the back, real low, real light. It was perfect. So I became a believer in the electric. And people are like, I used to drive an F-350 diesel, used to work on it for me and actually advised me when I bought it. But my son now is at the age where he's got a sandblasting business. He's doing all the stuff that I need. I don't really need, if I need a truck, I'll borrow yours, I'll borrow Peter's. I don't really need one. The stuff I'm doing is just a lot of traveling contained within the vehicle. So I can't see going to a gas car again. It's so much cheaper. Like, drive that car all day and it's like $6 a day to charge it at home. It's insane. It's about 15% more with the bigger battery in the Cybertruck, but it's still negligible. And the Cybertruck, the reason I actually bought it was as unlimited supercharging its whole life. And I'm going to use that thing like a rented mule. It's not to be cool. I want to drive across the country with stuff in the bed.
Well, you are cool because you're one of the only people in Livingston County with one. I have to hear all the time I've seen a Cybertruck, I think it was Shane. What, does Shane have a Cybertruck?
Yeah.
So you're a celebrity now.
My wife, Lisa, who is amazing, and she never liked the car because it was small, and she just fought. All my kids fight it just because it's electric. She's just like you. They give me the same shit. All my family. But then she's like, so you taking the car or the truck today? No, I'll leave the truck. Okay. So she drives the truck. And then after I was out of town, she drove it for a few days. She goes, I'm not driving the truck anymore. I said, why? She goes, everywhere I go, people stop me. And she's not quite the extrovert you and I are. Like, she's fun to talk to, but she doesn't want to get stopped at every single place she's at and talk about the truck. So she kind of stopped driving it, not because she doesn't like it. She does like driving it, but because everywhere she goes, people stop her.
That's hilarious. And, I went with you when you brought it over to Jordan or to my grandson's birthday party, and I drove it, and I'm like, yeah.
Hard to
Maybe
hate.
I'm gay. Because I was like, wow, this thing is actually pretty sweet. And,
Yep.
Lincoln and Jonathan took it out.
Same thing. They went crazy over
For
it.
the Super Bowl, they're like, you need to sell your Corvette. You need to buy a Cybertruck. And then I called Jason the other day. I'm like, hey, I sold my gray truck. Or my black truck. He's like, you bought a Cybertruck? I'm like, no, what is up with you people? So the Cybertruck is definitely badass. The self-driving, I'm not going to lie, shocked me because I have Super Cruise in my pickup truck, and I was like, that's amazing. But when you hit on the button to take me back to Jordan's house, and that car literally turned and pulled out and turned the turn signal on and took me back there, that was impressive.
The new version, literally, I'm pulling up to a light, and there's a little short driveway. It doesn't even look like a driveway. There's a lady pulling out. The truck stops, gives her plenty of room. She's all happy, waves at me, waves at me and pulls out. And I'm like, the truck did it. The truck was polite. It's insane what it's doing now. And then the cold weather thing was a bunch of shit. They had a hit out for Elon because, all the politics stuff. And so when they look at that report in Chicago that claims all these issues. If you had like a 2016, 2017 Tesla that was at like 15%, yeah, it was too cold, that might not charge. There was an issue that was very narrow. But most of it was these brothers are destroying the handles and people are killing it and they're mistreating the chargers. They're just not working because they broke the chargers. And then the other people that claimed that they couldn't handle the cold, like 8 podcasters deep froze their cars, even as low as 2018. Deep froze their cars, and then they slow drove them like they were stuck in traffic for like hours on end. Not one person could reproduce. Other than you're running a heater, which will give a very minor addition to power. So it's all bullshit, at least that I know. I mean, there might have been a version that I've never seen, but right now you're going to have a real hard time getting a car that's massively affected by these things they tried to say. And the battery replacement's getting cheaper. You tell me all the time what an engine costs, what, $40,000 to put a diesel engine in a truck or more?
$30,000, yeah,
right?
easy.
Even if the battery is $15,000 and it goes at 250,000 miles, what do I care? And they're not. They're going down in price. There's people that now repairing them because it's usually just a cell. Right. So the battery maintenance isn't what it used to be. It's actually impressive.
No, I would agree. And, the only thing that I can see that they haven't figured out 100%, I've read in my trade magazines, is when they catch on fire. They cannot get them to put them out. They tow them to a yard and let them burn, basically.
Yeah.
But besides that, I really haven't seen. Now, I knew they had it out for Elon when they freaking had the EV summit, and Joe Biden invited freaking GM and said they're the pioneer in electric cars. And Elon's over here going, oh my God, like I have, 60% of the cars, or I don't remember the statistic in California.
Way more.
It's huge.
Yeah, way more.
It's huge, right?
Yeah.
So you got Teslas everywhere, and Tesla's been around for a long, long time as far as electric cars.
Well, California was going to exclude them from the state for any incentives, and they're the only car literally manufactured in that state. If that's not, like, if you're going to do stuff to people, be smart enough where you could sell it. Like, they're so obvious that I don't care how dumb these people are. There's a lot of dumb people reading that stuff. It's obvious that they're just going after them, I don't understand. I mean, I don't think they should subsidize electric cars, but they sure as hell shouldn't be fighting against them. Let everybody buy what they want.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. And you're probably definitely a different type of electric car owner. We have jokes at the shops and stuff like that. BMW people act a certain way, Mercedes people. And to be fair, I mean, a lot of these people that drive EVs are, a certain way. But obviously you're not. You're not that guy. I know your wife. I know your kids.
Well, what did your son say about the Cybertruck? If he goes to a car wash, he's going to scratch it. I don't give a shit if I scratch that truck. It's a truck.
Yeah.
It's a truck.
Me and you have a little bit different outlook than we did years ago, obviously, because years ago we have been like, oh my God, I'm not taking it anywhere. Now we're like, it's a truck. Like, I've never been that guy that, like, you can't ride my Harley. You can't. I'm like, it's a motorcycle. You can have it.
Remember your dad?
Yeah.
Remember that one time my truck rolled into his truck and everybody thought he was going to murder me?
Yeah.
Or it was a car. It was like a Cadillac or something. What was it? What did it roll into?
I don't even remember.
Or a Firebird. He always had nice cars because where he worked, he got a new lease every year and a half or something.
I don't remember what he did, but I remember.
I had this shitty F-150. I park it, and it had no parking brake, if you remember, because you used to work on it and never had a parking brake. And it just rolled.
Slow motion. We're like, no!
Hit the car, and everybody's like, Jim's looking for you. Da-da-da-da. Jim didn't realize that he couldn't scare me because after my father, there's nothing on the planet that could scare me, right? So he blustered at me. I'm like, back the truck off. So, we good? And he was like, he was so mad. Even you thought he was going to whip my ass, right?
Yeah.
And to be fair, he didn't, but he really cared about his cars. I'll never forget that.
He's still that way. He still gets a scratch or something. He wants to replace the car. He's just not that guy that wants to dick around with it, apparently.
Yeah. No, I remember that. But he always had nice cars. He was a lot of fun.
Yeah. But, look how far you've come. You should be really proud of yourself because you're not everybody's cup of tea. I'm not everybody's cup of tea. We piss a lot of people off. When we went into business together, we upset the whole pretty much martial arts whole paradigm for a while there, and we were putting so many people in our school because of the marketing, and we're both going. I want to tell the Andercheck story because that story, I still laugh my ass off. We started it, we're like, okay, we really don't know what we're doing. This guy's got 7 successful schools or 6 or whatever number he had. Lots of schools.
He hit 12 at one point.
Yeah, so let's go ahead, and you're like, let's hire him. He's a friend of mine, and he'll go ahead and consult for us. Well, he gives us the stuff. Well, I'm calling him. All right, I'm done. Mm-hmm. All right, I'm done. So I come to you, I'm like, hey. You're like, what? No, I'm like, they don't want to really consult for us anymore. You're like, what did you do? I'm like, I really didn't do nothing. They just kind of moved slow.
Well, let's frame this because let's frame what he told me because that's a good point. Because then he called me and he goes, Shane, he goes, we do this for a lot of people. And most people take a year to get me the information we need. He goes, literally, when we hang up the phone, Kevin single-handedly solves and answers every single thing we asked, and he's ready for the next thing. He goes, the guy's superhuman. He goes, so he's, and then his guy was, you know how you got an employee, and it wasn't Andercheck's fault, but his guy would kind of start changing the story a little bit to slow you down. And of course, you're a bullshit detector built in. So you're like, that's not what you said. You said this. Well, yeah, I did, but, and you were like, not having it. So you're calling up Andercheck going, guy's lying to me, right? And so he's like, Shane, he's not really lying, but I got to say, you broke him. So he goes, so you guys go talk to me. He didn't actually ditch us, so to speak, but he goes, you got to talk to me. He goes, because you're breaking my guys, they can't handle it.
We went out back. I'm like, yeah, they don't really want to do this anymore. We're kind of overrunning them. And you're like, so who did it? You're like looking at me, and I'm looking at you, and he's like, yeah, he pretty much said, Kevin was all over us.
Kevin broke it, yeah.
But I'm not like saying that to be proud of myself or whatever, to brag, but my point was, like, we're so driven. When we got together, we're like, we're going to fill this school up to the point where, you remember when we bought that school, we're like, how are we going to make it? And we started doing that. We started putting so many people in. We had little walkie-talkies because it was so packed, remember?
We did, and it was a small school.
We put how many people in that school?
Over 200 in 4.5 months. And Andercheck, I haven't talked to him in a long time, but at the time, that was the record. He had never seen somebody put that many students in a school in that amount of time.
Yeah, then we were like, okay, now we have other problems. We have 80,000 white belts.
Yeah. Call it White Belt Nation.
Remember that? We had
like you can't teach them to do something when nobody in the room can do anything. We had to demo everything ourselves. We had to do all the kicks. We had to do all the... Usually I've got some higher ranks to say, watch this guy, right? But no, we had to do everything for them.
But that was a great time. Like it was fun, kicked ass at that. And as COVID kind of ended, we were both kind of tired and we took a break or whatever. But that was a good, solid time. But I want to tell you, I got tired working at my shops and then going there till 10 o'clock at night every night. Even though I loved it, and I was training full time, best shape of my life, it got tiring.
But you know why? It's because you work all day and you're vested for your family. And then when you're working with those athletes, you really care about them. So your emotional amount of expenditure and investment in all these kids is really high. So you're tiring out from a full day of work, and then you're tiring out from a second full day of work because you're really training these kids hard. So I get why that happens because we actually care, but that's why the school is so successful.
In marketing, we learned how to dial down this. This is where I'm going with this. We learned to dial down exactly the demographic, what age groups. I don't remember now. I think it was women basically because
mostly the women because they were making the decisions.
The decisions. So let's go back now to plug your website business into this and how AI, your website, Facebook, all the social media. I want to hear your sales pitch of why you think everybody should have a website if they're, to tie in with the social media, with the AI and stuff like that to be successful. Because one of the things that drives me absolutely nuts is people are like, oh, I don't need all that bullshit. I've been around for a while. Well, yeah, you do, because people forget why TV shows are made.
Right.
People, if you really stop and think about it, TV shows are made because they're they get popular and they get a following. When they get a following, what ends up happening? You can sell Nabisco, Kellogg, all these spots for commercials. It's no different than the Super Bowl.
Right.
Right? People forget why TV is existed.
Right.
It's basically a marketing tool.
So I can tell you one thing about everything I've done, I almost always do the things and then package it for my customers, right? So I can tell you currently a lot of the key things that you need and then why we offer it. So first of all, something I want to cover that I just re-upped and reinforced and even took some classes to make sure. If you don't have a sales system and a funnel, and people don't realize they all have one, nothing happens. Even if you're one person that builds baskets, somehow you had a conversation with somebody that put somebody in your funnel that went all the way through the funnel and bought a basket, right? Then you have to build the baskets. You have to have customers. So the number one thing that people are like, I want to do all this stuff, but they don't understand the complexity of how to generate a windfall of people that generally, come into the basket and end up buying, right? So you have to have a system. Now, the most easiest way for volume right now to bring in the business is generally Facebook or Google, right? So that's where they're at. You got to go where the people are at. So you have to have a system that generates that lead or that traffic. Now, I just really upped my game on how to make Facebook ads and test them and make sure our per ad cost is really worth it. That's the key. People always say, you just ever tell me a story, your guy says, no, Facebook sucks, so I'm not doing it. You're like, well, obviously, so is word of mouth that you said you're doing because you have no business either. So if Facebook sucks, so does your current process. The problem is everybody throws a few dollars at Facebook, hits a few buttons, doesn't work. There's just like anything else. If it was easy, everybody would be millionaires. You have to know what you're doing. So you have to understand that part, and you got to have metrics. But on the website side of it, back when I was building sites, I used to take $50,000, half of $50,000 down to build a site. Then the guy would be like, okay, build it. I'm like, well, wait, where's your product list? Well, I thought you were just going to build it. Well, I don't know nuclear physics. That's your business. I'm a computer nerd. You need to at least give me, well, no, we just thought you would build it. So they really just thought once they bought the website, I would just pull this stuff out of my ass. So there was a whole process, and we were really well known for finishing projects and working with the customers. I'd warned them ahead of time. I'd explained to them what was going to happen. Whole thing, right? Now, ironically, you could say I want to have a business that for truck repair, and I could know nothing about it. And because my system now has the web builder, every page can be, you can put a short paragraph in and have it generate a whole page of content with AI for every single page. You can have it guess what buttons you should have. You can literally have it engineer what you should have for content.
And it's not bullshit. It works.
It's not bullshit.
Legit.
It works 100%.
Yep.
Like it goes back. Like if you talk about Taekwondo right now, it'll eventually tell you or hint to you that parents are doing the buying in general. Okay, so like that's a thing that you know as a person, but the AI knows that too, right? So when you're asking about strategies to market, it's going to say, well, since parents do the purchasing, here's the type of groups. So the AI really is legitimate, right? And then if you train it, it gets even better. And because we write our own code, we take the underlying wholesale AI engine, but we train it and use it the way that we want. So it's more advanced than just using ChatGPT, right? And Grok 3 is amazing right now. We're switching over to that and doing some tests. But the point is, our website now, we make it look great. That's easy now. Everybody's got great designers. It's going to look good, and you're going to improve it. There's no debate there. If you don't like it, we fix it, right? You're going to be able to add products and pages. In my system, unlimited, all the pages and products you want, right? You might buy a first set that we build for you, but we hand over the keys. You maintain it however you want, or we'll help you. It's really simple. Now, we automatically provide an AI live chat now. So you can tell the live chat something as simple as hours, generally where to look for things, and how your shipping returns work. Or you can train every product in your database and have it answer questions and help send links and take you to pages to buy stuff.
I don't think most people literally understand this, because I'm going to be completely honest with you. When Kevin Gannon called me, he's like, we want AI. I'm like, get the fuck out of town.
Right.
We're not doing, but I misunderstood him. I thought he wanted my phone to be answered by AI.
Well, no, he didn't. I'm the one that wants you to have your phone answered
and
by
I'm
AI.
like, yeah, fuck that.
Yeah.
But let me go ahead and just say, full disclaimer, like when I started using it, and I mess with your bots all the time. I say so much shit to them. You're just like,
a lot of X-rated stuff too.
You're just like, keep going. This is great. But it really does answer questions intelligently.
Right.
It's honestly amazing. And, you know, the other day we were sitting there and Marilyn's like, I need we're having people over. She's like, can you make me a sign? Please take off your shoes. And I'm like, I started to pull out Word and I'm trying to do it on my phone. I'm like, this, what a piece of shit. ChatGPT. But it
Done.
printed out. Like I printed. She's like, holy shit. I mean, this is badass. Like it works good. And you know, the problem you're going to have with AI, or most people have with AI and websites, you could be a great businessman, but you could be horrible at marketing.
Right.
And most people are too arrogant to go, I know nothing about marketing. I used to tell you I'm a badass mechanic, right? When I hired you guys to build me a website. That's what you do.
Right.
And I used to always argue with Steve about that. I'm like, let's let the people do what they do, and we'll go fix trucks.
Yeah.
We'll pay them to do what they do.
Right.
You know, that's the problem with a lot of martial arts school owners, collision shop owners. A lot of these people won't give you the time of day to understand what you're trying to do.
Right.
Now, with that being said, there's a lot of assholes in your business, Yellow Pages and all them people that take thousands and thousands. We're going to geofence, and they sound that sounds really fancy. So yeah, $5,000 a month. Well, that's a great deal. You're going to geofence, and they're
Everything's a sales system.
Yeah,
Bottom
absolutely.
line. I mean, you can. I was just saying, a bad product marketed well is always going to exceed the greatest product not marketed.
and you have to have metrics. I'm a guy that wants
That's what I've
metrics.
just recently really been pushing on. You're right.
Because I like to see the numbers. And I'll be completely honest, like we had that snafu with Google, all right? All of a sudden, I'm getting $7,000 a month bills from Google, and they decided to up my ads from $2,000, right? Yeah. My phone should have been melting down. They're saying you had so many connections, right? My phone should have melted. It didn't.
100%.
Nothing changed.
100%.
That was bullshit, if you ask me.
No, I agree.
So
You have to have metrics. I mean, I just helped somebody, a friend of mine, run his Facebook ads. Okay, and I got so far 27 leads in a week for him, and his average lead cost is $9.98. That's a great cost.
Absolutely.
I even pay more right now in my current area than that. And so I said, you got to tell me how many book the appointment, how many come in, of the ones that come in, how many. We have to keep track of that so you can see if your money's worth it, because that $9.98 comes up as it averages out in people that don't sign up, and so it might cost you $30 per acquisition, or $40, $50 per acquisition. Who knows? So you have to, those metrics are important so that you know you're going the right way.
like last year, I spent almost $100,000 at Motor City in marketing. Okay, my radio was the worst. So guess what I'm not doing this year?
Right.
If I didn't know it, I'll tell you the number one, you're going to guess it, Google.
Right. Google is pretty strong.
Facebook works for some businesses and some businesses it doesn't. Like my personal, the truck repair and the body shop stuff for Motor City and stuff doesn't work good on Facebook, but Storm did.
Right.
Peters does.
Right, because there's passive marketing and there's intent.
Right.
When your shit breaks, you're just going to Google.
Right.
Right. When you're like, man, my kids are the greatest thing that ever happened to me. Oh, wow, I can put them in martial arts and make them more confident. You're running by the ad. It's different.
I remember when I started doing Garrett Auto and Truck's website, if you remember correctly, it was bare when I got it. So I put all the content up myself. So I learned how to do it on your newest system. And I remember thinking to myself, well, I'm not really good enough to write out like salesy web pages. So I'm like, how could I do this? I sat down this was what, 2001 maybe? I would copy and paste from the Federal Motors Carrier office, or I would paste all this
We would
information
do the same thing, yeah.
on my pages. But what it was is when you said it yourself, when my truck broke down, truck repair. This guy's talking about truck repair. He's not trying to sell me it. This is the guy I want to go to.
Right.
He's a pro. And that seemed to have worked very well. At one point, Kevin told me when you ask Alexa about DLT law, it sent you to GarrettAutoandTruck.com.
Yeah, because it was such a commonly answered page that was used for answers.
Yeah.
It's come they're kind of using AI now to determine what is the most popular. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah, I was shocked because somebody was telling me the other day, like, I think I have like 9 pages on my website. I don't know what's doing it good. Like, how many do you have? I said, I don't know. Last time I thought it was like 22,000 or 22.
Well, this brings me to my next point. I didn't even finish. So we have the AI page content, the AI product descriptions. We can generate 100,000 SEO pages at a time. You got to be very careful with this, and it's got to be very done right, and it's got to actually have value. But we can generate tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of SEO pages that literally work right now. And that people say, well, I'm just going to sign up for ChatGPT and do it. No, you have to have an account. Like, I'm authorized to run 10,000 transactions a minute through OpenAI. You have to work up to that. You don't just get that access.
Right.
You know, so, and there's a lot of code problems. There's a lot of challenges with doing that kind of volume that are just technical issues, right? And we have that built into Website Forward. So we have the AI marketing, we have the phone answering, we have text marketing, we have all of it. My Storm literally takes phone calls through AI. It texts them links when they need to, or information when it needs to, emails them when it needs to. You can the text works just like the phone system back and forth. If you go through my instant messenger through Facebook, we put the AI through there, so it talks through instant messenger with the same AI. Every channel is going to have the same answers, and eventually gets their cell phone number and texts them. And the best part of AI is you can ignore it until it thinks there's something interesting. You can tell it, if they're showing a buying signal, let me know. If they're upset, let me know. If they're trying to cancel their service, let me know. So there's 1,000 things that happen, but only the 10 that matter get sent to me. So imagine the time. I'm running 6 companies right now. Imagine the time it saves that those 6 different sites only contact you when there's something actionable. Oh. That's the power of AI. Think about that context versus it just does cool shit.
You don't have to tell me because I just use that M1 app, and at the end of the day, when it gave me a recap at 8 o'clock of what happened during the day, and I look at it, it's like, add this to your calendar. I hit a button, it adds it to my calendar.
Yep.
I'm like, that is like amazing.
It's
and you're 100% right. The AI is just, it's only getting better and better now that Elon's in the market with Gronk 3.
Yeah, Gronk 3, yeah.
Gronk 3. So, remember web crawlers that you would like want the web crawlers to come to your website and crawl? Is that a thing still?
Yeah, it's just automatic now. You can prompt it, but you just pretty much change your site. They're going to be honest.
So when you're putting that many pages out, like say you're 10,000,
lots of issues.
Like
you get nervous because you worry. They're valid pages. It's like, because here's how you got to think about it. Some people are like, well, you're cheating. You're not cheating. What if you put 100,000 new products in the database? You're generating basically 2 views minimum, detail view and list view of every product. So 100,000 products puts minimum 2 pages dynamically created for a website. So that's 200,000 pages there. So it's really not, but you still get in your head going, man, did I give Google too much too fast? And it can. It only takes bytes. It's not gonna. If it sees you got 100,000 new pages, it's not gonna just stop and process your site. It might pull in 500 pages. And so sometimes the return is different than if you just. One of our strategies, we just do a couple thousand at a time, because it's almost the same result as if you do all 100,000 at once. But the point is, we can do them without all the time. We used to manually do it.
I remember. I mean, I would spend
expensive.
days and days and days on my website.
Yeah, and my costs for doing these pages are very fair. I'm only really offering it to my current customers and specific customers now, because pretty soon everybody will be doing it, and they won't have the advantage. But
So when you get these companies that you do at your website is SEO, your websites are SEO friendly. You have Kevin that does it for you and stuff like that. One thing I always liked about your company, I could pick up the phone and call somebody.
Yeah.
And I'm not going through a bunch of prompts.
Right.
And for me, that's huge, because I don't want to sit there trying to do something, and maybe because I'm your friend, I get a call back right away, but I highly doubt it.
Everybody does, yeah.
But when I would do something and I get hung up, I could actually call and talk to somebody. I wouldn't have to wait 48 hours.
Right.
Like
Even if you went to live chat and said, I need help, can you call me? They call you.
Right, exactly. And that's huge. And how many people go to these huge website companies, and once they get the hook in, they get your credit card number, well, we'll call you back in 48 hours, minimum 72, or minimum 48, more like 72. You can't really do business that way.
No, I mean, we've always made sure that, when you need to talk to somebody, you can talk to somebody. We just wade through all the busy stuff and get to the people that need us.
So how important, and this is a question that it'll show how honest you are, how important is a website for people nowadays with all the different avenues? You have social media, you have the Google page, like a website, SEO. Is that a thing?
Oh, you mean compared? Listen, honestly, if I was doing something fast, and a very specific niche thing, I could just use a Facebook page and market it. Don't have to have a website, honestly. Like, I'm all about end result oriented. How many times I had people call me up and want to spend $50,000 and they've got no marketing budget, and I said, I'm going to take your 50 grand. I'm going to build you the greatest site you've ever seen. But if you're not going to market it, you're going to fail and you're going to be pissed at me. Right. I would tell them that. Now, sometimes they would still buy it, but I would literally say, I'm going to take your money and it's going to work. Site's going to do everything you ask me, but you think this site's going to make you a multimillionaire, and you've not once told me what you're going to do to market it.
I'm sure you've had customers that you've got way up here by building a site, SEO, and spending all that time. That I got this. I'll take care of it myself, and they just go right down.
I got a better one. I got a customer just now. They were spending about $6,000 to $6,500 a month in marketing. He had 600,000 unique visitors a month. 600,000. Keywords like wholesale. Like, that's like being number one for the word book.
Right.
Like, some of the keywords we had were incredible. And the first thing he did to fight us was they just removed like 50,000 products off their website. All that we had ranking really high. Now, sure, they might not sell those anymore, but we could still use those pages to shut them down and generate traffic and direct them to new products. So there's a whole strategy to it. So they just pulled the plug on us. But with all the traffic, and I remember when they were doing less than $2 million in sales, they're doing almost $30 million in sales now, all from our websites. Got this new guy in, he's like, yeah, I don't think the $6,500 is worth it. But look at the traffic. Well, we don't have enough new customers. This just drives me nuts. This is just me complaining. So I said, well, what do you mean? So I looked at the database. I said, how many new people signed up to log in that never once logged in? It was like 80,000 people that registered and never logged in. And I found out that they were manually approving the login. So when they were hot to buy, it might take 24 to 48 hours or a whole weekend to turn their account on. So they essentially had 80,000 interested people. This is just in the year I checked. There was a lot more.
Holy shit.
And so I said, well, hold on. Before we tank this deal, I'm going to write an AI text bot. And I'm going to have it just touch base with everybody and see, just have it keep asking questions and figure out why they didn't sign up. Most of them said nobody, I couldn't get in. Nobody called me. I reached out. So it turns out they're I don't want to say the company name because it'll really piss them off, but literally their sales department took almost 1 million visits and just lost most of it because they would not do business properly. So I told the guy, I said, listen, I said, I will sit in your office for a week with your sales staff and I will find the problem. There's a floodgate of sales here, millions of dollars in sales. They're just not, and he would not look at that or even consider the fact of changing that process of blocking people out before they register. It's just the weirdest thing. So we lost that customer. And that might have been some of the best SEO work we've ever done in 30 years. Like when you do the calculation, it's worth like $80,000 a month in pay-per-click, what we were doing for this guy. So I know that's a long sidetrack, but yeah,
no,
people
but that's
do
the kind of
the
shit
dumbest
people need to hear.
shit you've ever seen in your life.
Oh, no, I do. And, you could sit there and talk to the web guy and say, okay, he's full of shit. Or he comes to you with that kind of stats.
Yeah.
How do you, honestly, that almost seemed like ego.
I don't know. Because I sat down in a meeting with the guy. I'm right next to the president, and I don't mess around. I don't mince words.
No, never.
He's got the girl on the screen who's his new marketing person. So she starts giving me shit. Well, I want to know what you do. I go, I've been doing this for 10 years for this company. I'm not going to resell what I do. What's the question? Like, you're the marketing person. You've looked at their numbers. You looked at their marketing. You look at the SEO. You're a marketing person. Tell me what you want from us different. And she's like, well, and she gets offended. So we get to the part of the conversation.
Wow, somebody got offended that's young?
Oh, it gets better. She's not even young. It gets even better. So I finally said, so did you know that nobody follows up into any of these leads? And she's like, no, I just assume. I said, so how long have you been in this position? Because I remember when they hired her. 6 months. And this has just pissed her off. I said, so you've been here 6 months and you've just met me today and you still don't know that the sales process works this way and nobody's following up on these. She got so mad she started crying and wanted to hang up the meeting. So while she's crying, I looked at him and I said, this is the president of the company. He doesn't care about your tears. This made it worse. I said, he doesn't care that you cry. This is executive level stuff. All he wants to know is where the money's at. His whole job is to bring money in here, and my job is to give him the money. And you're sitting here crying because I asked you a hard question. And everybody in the room was like, "Oh my God, I can't believe you just said that to her." But like, what are we here for? We're here to make him money, and they just the backwards thinking.
So I'll keep going on this meeting. This is just a good story. I'm glad to see you're still sensitive.
I canned him. He just kept talking. I said, "There's no point. We're done." I go, "You don't see the value. If anything, we should be doubling your price." I literally told him that. I said, there's nothing else I can do to convince you on what we've done. I've shown you everything. You got a lady here doesn't even, you just hired as a marketing person, has no clue what you're doing. So if she doesn't know what you're doing and has no value to you, you sure as hell don't respect what we're doing. So I just said, we'll do it for someone else. I told him, so there's a lot of companies that'll pay a lot of money for this traffic. So I could literally bid this traffic out. And we did. We're selling it to other companies.
It's kind of funny because there's two things that I 100%, you've actually said it to me. You always worry about the numbers, remember?
Right.
Okay, I have figured out a way to dissect all my numbers, see what's happening in my companies, number one. And number two, proven processes.
Yeah.
I've changed processes 100 times. I sound like a broken record now because we take pictures of everything we do from start to finish. Okay. Why? Because I want to have a timeline of what happened. Yeah. No different than you.
Absolutely.
Here you go. What about all this?
Right.
People don't understand that. And I'll tell you, the biggest problems at my shops happen when we go outside of our processes.
100%.
No doubt about it. Because remember, we had less problems back when I was calling people on the phone going, hey, Mr. Merriam, your front brakes are grinding. You need front brakes, rotors, calipers. Mm-hmm. Okay, I need the last four of your social security number so I can prove that I talked to you for this amount.
Right.
Okay, now we have DVIs, digital vehicle inspections. We send pictures, so it's a lot easier. But with that being said, people can lie and say, I don't say it. So now we have logs with their IPs. They look at it, their phone, whatever. They have to approve every box, okay? Mm-hmm. That's a process we go through because at the end of the day, when the state comes in, or the credit card company is the newest and greatest thing, they put it on their Visa card, then they go and dispute it. They jerk the money back out of your account. You have to prove why you weren't wrong.
Even website Forge My System, we're one of the first to collect signatures. Remember, we're the first ones that took legally binding signatures. So you have a little evidence package when they try to do disputes that has the IP address, the signature, the terms.
I remember.
Yeah, and I was one of the first ones doing it on a website. So people are like, back to your point earlier, not knowing what you need, think about our company, Website Forge, is when you buy it, there's so many things you don't realize you need until you become successful, right? Like WordPress. WordPress is a system people use all the time. Few companies secure it the right way, but the average guy overseas throws a design on it, gives it to you, gives you a super cheap price. And WordPress is meant to be designed in a very specific way so that when there's upgrades, the upgrades happen without breaking the code. But nobody follows the rules. So you take that same site, now there's a bunch of hacks out there because it's open source and people are messing up the sites. So you should just be able to apply a security patch to the WordPress and boom, your same site is running again securely. But because nobody follows the rules, they pay again and again. So that WordPress site, A, is insecure, and B, costs you 10 times the amount because they're just recoding stuff they shouldn't have had to recode. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So there's always, it just comes down to, paying attention to the processes and what you're doing and what the result's going to be, right? In our company too, what I tell my people is handle the rule. I'll handle the exception. So do your job, and if anything doesn't fit in our processes, you're allowed to hand it to me. Now, don't you dare ignore it and then have the customer call me up pissed. If you can't get the job done and you don't have an answer and you can't do your job, you hand it to me. That's it. So don't tell me Friday that it was due Friday, it didn't happen. Tell me Wednesday this customer is asking for something we don't normally do. I don't know how to handle it. Hand it to me so I can have it ready by Friday, or let the customer know it's not going to be done. So to your process thing, there's always exceptions, but that's what the managers handle. That's what we handle. The rule should be outlined for all your people, and they have to follow it.
Absolutely.
Get him to follow it's a whole other story.
Yes. Policies, that's where policies come in. And I remember learning about policies when we went to them. It's like, oh my God, these layers of stuff. But you're right. And people are more tricky nowadays. They tend to want to rip you off. I'm not saying everybody, but the fraud is just through the roof.
It is through the roof.
I mean, I just got a thing that my, package is stuck at UPS. I need to give them my social security number so they can verify it's me. It's or my
and
tolls.
your credit card number.
It's just like, so going back to the website stuff, I know that I sold door parts and stuff on my website. So your e-commerce, have you upgraded the e-commerce and stuff?
Oh, yeah. I mean, people always talk about Shopify. It does everything Shopify does and more without the extra cost, because Shopify tends to charge you as you do more business, which is a fine business model, but you pay fixed rate for ours. We don't add money to the transactions.
Okay. And how do people get a hold of you if they want to do it?
Well, we can put my phone number on here.
I think we should.
Websiteforge.com, fill out the form. That's the most easiest for the websites.
Okay. And then let's go back into how far can you go? Let's go back into the EV because I forgot to ask you batteries. How many miles can you go just normal driving in your Cybertruck in your car? Because that's another thing that people ask me.
So you end up not thinking of it like that. Okay, number one, the one thing I will tell you is the faster you go, the exponentially the battery drain because of wind resistance, right? So I kind of figure out once you hit about 80, 80 is a little bit reckless. You're not going to get the best mileage at 80, but for your average everyday driving, if you drive 80, you're going to be fine, right? I always set mine to 15% over, so it ends up maxing out at 77, and I seem to be doing fine with it. Here's how it works. So first of all, you tend to charge no more than 80% of your battery unless you have a lot of time, because the way the battery's charged, the emptier it is, the faster it charges. And here's how they explain it to me. Imagine you had a big parking lot with one entrance and one exit. And the goal was to drive in and park as fast as possible. Well, the first 80% of it would be fairly quick. And then in the last 20%, they'll be hunting for spots, right? If they were just flying into the parking lot. So it slows down trying to find those spots as the last 20% of the cars fill the lot. And as it exits, they could zoom right out. But then the furthest from the exit you are, again, even exit slower. So that's how these lithium batteries work. New batteries aren't supposed to be quite as polarizing like that. So the thing is your truck is always calculating, your car is always calculating the least amount of charge time to get you there the fastest, bottom line. So, if you're on side roads, you're doing 60, 65, I've had 4-hour trips, right? Because you're not hitting the wind real hard and it doesn't burn much electricity. When you're doing 80 down the expressway, that same 4 hours could be 2.5, averaging. So what I say is the way I map it and stop, I tend to get about 1.5 hours to 2 hours per stop. That's how it works. It's plenty for me. I'm a power driver where I get the coffee, jump back in the car. It's a 20, 25-minute charge. If the coffee takes me longer, then it skips the next. Maybe it gets enough juice, it skips one of the stops or extends it. So that's kind of how it works. But you generally get, in the worst conditions, 1.5 hours of driving, and generally 2 to 2.5 hours of driving, sometimes 3, 4. It knows if there's a big gap and it just charges you that point.
Because of the word.
Yeah. Just knows where it's at.
Do you ever get to chargers and they're broken, like all the stories you hear?
I have, but I've never not been able to charge. I've had it pop up and say, don't go to stall 10. But I've never seen the whole thing all busted up. But I've never been to Chicago.
Yeah,
Chicago's like its own.
I hear it's a
battle.
real mess right now. So if I was going to start a business, what kind of website would you recommend we start? What kind of tools? You know, just an informational website, e-commerce. You could set it up so you could take people's payments.
That's the only binary thing. It's either you're taking money or not. That's the only two options we have. Now, we do have some special code that we write for people. But so if you're not taking money, it's informational. So we give you all the stuff, AI content creation, AI everything, AI live chat. If you want the phone to answer, you can do all that stuff. And then we go ahead and give you the custom design. We apply the whole design, hand over the keys, train you how to use it. And at that point, you get any pages or content you want. We don't charge more. We let you use all the AI tools all you want. If you want to buy AI marketing beyond one page at a time, we can do that. And the reason we sell them that is because you just can't have people generating thousands of pages. They'll hurt themselves. They'll get Google pissed at them or something.
So
you know,
I call you up. I'm like, hey, I need to get a sales funnel going with AI. I need your help.
Yeah.
What does this conversation look like? Because I want to drive it home to people so they understand exactly what you're saying with the AI and what it can actually do. Because honestly, I'd say 3% of people know what AI can actually.
Well, the first thing is, and it's not really about AI. AI is just to help to get to the end, right? So I'd say, okay, what are you selling, and where are you selling it from? Because some people are selling nationwide, some people are local. Local businesses, man, we just destroy it fast. You're going to get all the local business, all the local pages, all the local SEO. Local is so easy for us to hit.
So I am going to open that trailer store at Motor City, trailer parts store.
Right.
Do I need to put everything online? And because I started thinking about this, and this is one of the topics I want to talk to you about. I put my whole catalog up, right? Mm-hmm. And there's a big margin of error of the wrong parts.
Yep.
I could put measurements in there, and people they just want to ship it back. I don't really know if I want to get into shipping back and forth.
So here's what I'll do. What I would do for you, I would say you don't necessarily have to publish all the parts, but publishing parts help in the search engines. No, make no mistake. So even if you're publishing parts without enough to purchase, you could still just get all the catalogs you want. We'd put it there and say it would draw people to the site. But here's what I would probably do if you're saying a lot of times it's better to have a quick conversation with people to sell them something is kind of what I'm gathering. So what I would do is I would have the AI chat ask the key questions. Now let me back up. We have a company that sells buildings, metal buildings. Now, you can configure your own metal building. It always takes a person to figure it out. You generally don't just buy a 30 by 40 building. Generally, there's a whole process to that.
Absolutely. Windows, no windows, doors.
Right.
Yeah.
So what we do is we have the bot just generate report. Hey, what are you looking for? 30 by 40. Great. What kind of doors? You want a man door? You want a big door? I want 2-man doors. So it asks these questions. What are you doing for heating and air conditioning? Hey, where's your zip code? Let's check what kind of wind load you need for the roof, wind and snow load. Puts in their zip code. AI looks it up. You know what? You can go with a hip roof, or you can go with a whatever roof. You know,
Sounds like you've done this before.
I'm telling you. So then we say, hey, we're going to have a Shed Girls representative call you. What's your cell phone number? We do that throughout the whole process. So while the AI is just getting them excited about dumping what they want, it's saying, hey, what's your cell phone number? I'll have it's shedgirls.com. It's a really cool site. And we're going to have a shedgirls.com representative call you back and, verify all this stuff, whatever. A lot of times they're asking questions, so it's like, we'll have someone call you. So the whole point is once we get that cell number, it's perfect. Now we text them. Now the text AI is going to follow up with them. It notifies the staff. They get to call them, and it's still, if we don't get a call back or if there's anything outstanding, the bot touches base and markets to them, right? And so all we're doing is asking enough questions to get the confidence to put a cell. So that's what you need. What you're looking for? Trailer? What kind of trailer? What kind of fender? Okay, great. You know what? We're going to have someone call you and go over a couple options for that. What's your cell phone number? Next thing you know, you get a text, call Jay about this trailer fender he needs. Hey, Jay, I just saw you're looking for a fender. I just want to verify you told it was this size by this size. Is that right? Great. Any other? Okay, now you're selling. Now you're human. My goal is to get your best sales process in place. It's not the AI. I'm not relying on the AI if I don't have to. If I can, I will. But what's your best sales process? For you, it's you talking on the phone. And all your companies, if you get on the phone, you're going to sell the most. So if I can have the bot get to the point that you have a valid customer with a valid need and a valid cell phone number, that would be the goal in your case for the trailer until you get too busy and you want to sell online, right? But you'd make a shit ton of money just with that. And that's like a $3,500 website with an e-commerce catalog.
So
Without it, it's about $2,000.
yeah, so let's go back to that guy that had 80,000 leads sitting there, and they never approved the accounts. What was their mindset of not approving an account so somebody could buy?
Oh, those are Amazon guys. I just know it. Well, how do you know? Well, they're just Amazon SEO, because the problem is Amazon would call this company and want to drop ship, and it wastes their time. I go, but you guys have never qualified these. I even offered to write an AI bot to specifically, as soon as they sign up, start a conversation
Right.
and figure out if they're Amazon to not give them the account. And I said, if they're not Amazon, I was going to have it tell them how to log in and check the products, and do you want someone to call you? So I offered for like $3,000 to write a whole AI system that would parse out that first transaction, give them login access as long as they weren't SBA. Right? And it turns out they weren't all SBA, but they really won't acknowledge that. But I've got the evidence of all the responses on the text. Right? So it just came down to them not trusting us. The new management wanted what they wanted. The evidence didn't matter. Right? And the sales guy had so much pull and had been there for so long that he was like, we're going to sell the way we do. So that's a problem.
So I've been trying to get a hold of people, like I told you, when I'm for wholesales for, listen to this conversation where AI would have saved the day for this guy. I went to this website and I filled out their form. How do you want to be contacted? By phone. What products are you interested in? I tick their boxes. So the guy calls me or emails me, what are you interested in?
I just filled it all out.
I just filled it all out.
Yeah.
I say to him, he says, I said, I filled everything out. You're asking me all the same questions. Would you have a tax ID? I purposely did not put my tax ID form in there because I don't know if I'm going to do business with you. I wasn't going to waste my time. These are the products. I go, you suck at your job. You're horrible. I said, I say call me. You email me. I put what I want. You're asking me what I want. Did you even read the damn form?
I have the same conversation.
So I hang up on him. I'm like, you suck. So I hang up on him. I sent him this message. When a potential client takes the time to fill out your form, you should at least read it. You literally emailed me instead of calling after I answered your form in capitals. How should I be contacted? I answered phone. Yet you emailed me. Then you asked what I was interested. Once again, I filled out everything on your form. You never read it. Horrible. Do you know that I had to send an email like that? I got a call from the manager about an hour later. Hey, that guy, we're having all kinds of problems. Good help is hard to find. Yeah. That could have completely been fixed with AI.
Yeah, no, I believe it. And that's again, and it summarizes it. When I get the message, it's summarized. We talked about this barn, these doors, these things. Yes, they want a heater. No, they don't want insulation. Call them. And they call them.
Yeah, you have all the information too. And the number one frustration of people, how many people do you know that spend all kinds of money on marketing, a website, all this stuff, and then they never even call the people back?
Yeah, it's crazy. That's crazy.
That drives me absolutely nuts.
It is crazy.
I go through everybody in all of our companies. This is going to sound like I'm neurotic because I am. All their emails come to me. They're all I get a carbon copy of every one.
You make sure they're responding.
To make sure they're responding. Because I'm not going to spend all this money to get these people to call. And right now, it's expensive to get people to call.
Right. Ads are not cheap, even when you're doing them right.
No.
Like my son is in the sandblasting business. And I told Pete, I go, you realize there's a mathematical formula on how fast you call somebody back and how likely they are to purchase. And the rule is you touch people on an average of 5 times before they purchase. There's generally, if you think about the calls back and forth, even if you're just scheduling a sandblasting job, you're calling 3 to 5 times. You're talking 3 to 5 times just to get them over there.
Right.
Five touches is not inaccurate.
Right. And here's the other problem we're running into. If you don't call somebody back, guess what they're going to do? They're going to freaking get on Amazon and have it at their front door in 20 minutes.
Exactly.
That's a whole other thing we're fighting with now.
That is.
Amazon's kicking everybody's ass.
Yeah.
They just literally are because they just get it done. They just get it done.
Yeah.
It's insane.
They got robots carrying inventory to the door.
Do they really?
Yeah. They have these shelves that literally just drive over and spit the thing out and drive back and park again.
Yeah, well, when
probably better stuff now. That's the last video I saw of them.
Really?
Yeah.
I hear they're pretty hard to work as far as like their rules and stuff like that.
Because everything's monitored.
You're getting paid. Do it.
They probably know if you're going to have a heart attack, and they can literally tell what your heart rate is at the time, and can probably figure out if they're pushing you too hard.
They were terminating people by their little handset. Say you went to the bathroom twice in the last hour, you're all done.
Yep.
Hand your shit in. I'm like, oh my god. But the world we live in, these people don't really want to work. So are they going to get replaced with AI? Absolutely, because that lady on How Happenings the other day was sitting there. A guy said he was looking for some help, and they pay X amount of dollars, and she's like, "Yeah, I would never work for that kind of money." Blah blah blah, And he's telling them that basically one of the things you have to stay off your cell phone. Well, I let my employees on their cell phone, and I'm not like. You want people to be slaves. You don't want them to work. You want to pay them $16 an hour. You don't want them on their phone. I'm like, what's this world
Here's the problem. People claim they want a minimum wage, but here's the thing. We used to train kids, bring them in, and we would teach them and train them and give them a low but fair wage. Like I made $4 an hour on the farm when I worked with you. $4 an hour. I took home $100 a week cash in the big part of that summer. That means I worked at 14 and 15 years old an actual 100 hours. Remember, your mom used to do the payroll. She didn't believe him. She went and told Tommy, there's no way he worked 100 hours. She's like, yeah, he worked 100 hours.
Yeah, when we were doing hay and stuff like that,
I
was
cutting, raking, baling, throwing the hay at night.
Yeah, I remember. It was hell.
So, but the point is that was $4 an hour. And cash, thank goodness. And I worked my ass off. The only place you and I could go shopping was, at the time, Myers on 8 Mile. It was the only 24-hour place. And then where do we eat that was 24? Denny's. That was it. And then if we got out early enough to take our girls to the movies, it was bonus. And you and I would take turns buying everything. I'd buy all the movie and dinner one night. You would buy all the movie, no matter who was with us. We were like
ballers.
We're ballers. You were a little older, a couple years older. So if I was 14, you were 16. When I was 15, you were 17.
Yeah.
Because even though we were driving way before our license, you were the one that had the license way before me.
Yeah, I found a piece of paper the other day that I had to go to driver's re-education because I got pulled over so many times, and they're like, "Who was with you?" I'm like, "Shane." They're like, remember you couldn't drive with me for a year." They restricted my license, I think, somewhere on a piece of paper.
I had a few of those too.
Friend Shane Merrill's I'm like, who the hell puts that shit there?
They told me in court. They says, you realize you've got more tickets than an 80-year-old person? And I'm like, to be fair, I drive like 60,000 miles a year. I mean, that was when I was doing all the computer work. They didn't think it was cute. No. So I had to go to class too.
But yeah, you're right. One of the best pieces of advice I got was a guy that owned NLB. His name is Forrest. He's passed away now. He said, if you have a key player and you can afford it and that person's getting ready to retire, 2 years before he retires, you hire somebody to work right next to him. You have them work together for 2 years. He said, when that key player goes, your business will not miss a beat if you have the right person with him. He'll already have known everything that other guy knows, and he'll just go on with your life. The problem nowadays, where do you find that person?
No one's going to do it.
Like in my business, mechanics are like, I think right now, as of the statistic, the start of the year was 200 and some thousand jobs, mechanic jobs in Michigan. We're down. We're down that many people to work on stuff.
Well, I had 3 kids. And you have the same situation. You turn out good kids. But if I'd have known there was going to be so many useless kids in this generation, I would have had 10 kids because my kids are savage. They work. They do what they're supposed to do. They don't get butthurt over little stuff. You can't hurt their feelings. Nice as pie, hard workers. And when it's time not to be nice, they know how to not to be nice. It's perfect. So, but we don't have enough people to when I'm old, I'm worried about who's taking care of the country.
Yeah, but the problem is our kids, and I know a bunch of people that we're associated with, they're the same way with their kids. But then I know a bunch of people we're associated with that their kids can never do anything wrong. They're failures to launch, and all they do is make excuses for them. Yeah. Well, this happened, that happened. Nobody cares. No, nobody cares. What do you always say? Excuses are for people who use them.
Yeah, excuses are for people who use them. That's it.
Lincoln, he's had his problems. He's learning. He's having problems with customers now and stuff like that.
But now it's the time. He's
got
nothing to lose.
That's what I told him. He was so funny. He's like, do you think I'm going to go bankrupt? I said, Lincoln, you own everything. You have a pile of money in the bank. If you don't work, you're not going to go bankrupt. No. You owe nobody nothing.
Right.
But that's a good mindset to have.
Hell yeah.
There's a lot of people I know, and somebody was talking to me yesterday. They're like, a lot of people really have a hard time going bankrupt and stuff like that.
It's personal.
Well, yes, but some people don't. Because I know construction companies that have changed their name to, Barlin 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or whatever the company might be.
I know individuals that have gone bankrupt like at least 3 times in 6 years.
And have no problem doing it.
No problem. And they live the life.
They show up at your company. Hey, I need to buy this water. You're like, dude, you went bankrupt. That was the other company.
Yeah.
This is the new company. We have money.
That's right.
I've seen that over the years in the truck thing. And, you talked earlier about, and I wanted to reiterate on this. Collections.
Yeah.
When I started at Garrett Auto and Truck, we had no money. We couldn't pay our trade credit, and we had no computers or anything. And I remember cleaning up the office, and we were going to put a desk in there for me. I'm like, what is that stack of repair orders right there? Well, there were people that owe us money.
Did you start going through that?
I started calling them, and I upset all these customers because I was rude to them. I remember one guy's name was Scott Shemansky, and I didn't like the guy anyway because he thought at one time Arnie sold him brakes and told him, which was Steve's dad, the original founder, told him that was lifetime brakes. So this guy would pull in, I need you to take off my wheels and check my brakes. Well, it was a new regime. I was in charge of the shop. I'm like, I'm not pulling your wheels off. I'm not, you could pay me to, well, I'm not paying you. I go, yeah, you don't pay your fucking bill anyway. So I had called this guy, later on. I'm like, we did a trans in your old Cutlass. We need to get paid. Well, I don't have the money. Well, you need to pay something. You made a deal. It says right here, $80 a week. You haven't paid nothing. You need to do it or we're taking you to court. Well, I kept calling him. So finally, he got a hold of Steve's dad, and he's like, this guy keeps calling me and calling me. And Steve's dad's like, well, I don't know what his problem. I got in trouble for calling him so much. Yeah. So
it makes no sense.
I got rid of all, when I bought the place, I have like 3 house accounts I've had for years that pay me.
Yeah, we don't do credit either.
I don't do credit. I'm not a bank.
Yeah.
I'm a little shop that freaking fixes trucks. I'm not a bank.
I tell people, I said, I don't want to, it would cost you more for me to have an AR department. Right? So I don't have an AR department. So you gotta pay me. But back to your point, so one of the points I make, and I have this conversation all the time, when people are bitching about money, I'm like, you understand you've got the easy part. Well, what do you mean? I have to build your website, make sure it's right, make you happy, take care of any issues. I've got a huge amount of work to do over the next 6 months, right? All you have to do is write a check. I've got the tough job here, not you.
Right.
That's what I tell people, and they think about it, and they're like, yeah, I'm like, I got to perform. All you have to do is write a check.
Collections. You know what I started doing with people? Anything over $5,000, they have to pay half down now on the approved repair order. And when I realized this, I figured out who doesn't have the money.
Exactly.
Oh, man, I don't have that kind of money. Well, guess what? If you don't have half, you sure the hell not going to have all of it next
100%.
week. So that kind of stalled that because it took me a while to figure that one out.
I used to do 80% down on $100,000 websites, and people said, how in the hell do you get 80% down? Here's what I tell them. Listen, we're both in. I go, I'm not going to start work on this with a very little deposit and you get bored. This is a big project. It's like building a house and you lose interest in the house and now you're not responding. We both have to be on. It's a very stressful thing. There's going to be situations that we have to go back and forth, but we have to get this thing done. So you got to be in it, and I got to be in it, number one. Number two, when we're done, you don't pay the last 20% till you're completely happy. 100%, which means I don't go live with it, though. Because you'd get in a situation where it's a big enough site, they want to go live, but yet they had a list of things that I was more than happy to take care of, but I would still make them pay the full bill to go live, and I would still take care of the hit list versus them talking to me going live with the site and never paying $30,000
right.
or whatever of the money. But the thing is, though, with that is you have to have a good reputation. Because the one thing I had is my worst enemies will not say I would rip them off. Like no matter how much they hate me, they know I'm not going to steal. I'm not going to steal from them. So, and that's the problem they have with us is we're brutally honest about stuff, and they just don't like that. But the truth is, we also would not screw them, right? So you have to have a good reputation for that. And so I just tell people if you're not comfortable, I get it. Want references, I'll give it to you. But normally the people that have like a bunch of what ifs, what if you do this? What if you do this? What if you... Ends up, they're the ones doing that. So as soon as they ask, like, what if you screw me like 3 or 4 times? I'm like, you know what? You're right. What I might do that. I go, you probably shouldn't buy it from me. Like literally when they do enough of the what ifs, I know they're going to be the ones that are going to try to screw me over. I can't. I'm like, you know what? You're right. We probably shouldn't do this.
So these people, isn't that interesting? Because in a lot of books they say, look for the professional buyer and blow off the knucklehead. It's kind of like a guy that always worries about his shit getting stolen. He's usually the biggest thief around.
100%.
And that's the guys that, you've been in business long enough and you're successful enough, and I am too.
Right.
I look at people and go, hey, I'm not the shop for you because I don't need your aggravation. You want to be number one, but you want to pay number 99 pricing. No.
Yeah.
And then you wanted it done yesterday when it's going to take me a week.
Yeah.
Like the biggest frustration I have right now, and I have not figured out how to deal with it, I'm getting better at it, is people want to send me a picture of their rust spot or their dent on their car. I need a price on this. How?
Yeah.
That's a one-dimensional picture. I don't know what's behind it, what's broken. Like,
What do you have to take off to get to it? Yeah.
So there's just a lot of things here, and people just don't get that. Well, I'll go somewhere else. Okay, go somewhere else. Send them a picture. Drive them nuts.
Well, it's the same with Storm. If they say, what's the price before they come in? I said, I'm not giving you a price. Why? I go, if price is the only reason that you would buy the martial arts for your child, we're not the place for you. When you come here, A, the price is fair, and B, when you see what we're offering, price will no longer be an issue. And they get mad. But the thing is I just, they're not going to buy if they're only price specific.
Yeah.
Like,
here is a challenge that I face, and I know you face it too, is we don't fit in today's new world because people don't really want to hear the truth. We're no different than Jack Nicholson sitting on the stand saying you can't handle the truth, because a lot of times when you tell people the bold truth, they say you're being rude.
yeah, they just can't.
They just can't handle. They've been coddled their whole life, and you start telling them like I look at Melissa, Peter, Megan, or Lincoln or Cooper. I tell them the truth. They're like, they don't even think because they've heard it from us.
Yeah.
These people nowadays, I tell them the truth. They're like, you're being rude. I'm like, I'm telling you the truth. Should I lie to you? Make you feel better? I mean, I probably sell more shit. I guess I don't know.
No, I mean, we have both used words like, you're telling me something, I'm telling you something, and it's like, you're just being a little bitch. Stop.
Yeah.
Like, that was our response. Like, what the fuck's the matter with you, Kevin?
Yeah.
Stop being a little
I remember
bitch.
that spot.
Yeah.
But there's very few people I take
That's
criticism
true.
from.
Like, I was waiting. I thought we were fist fighting. And you're like, and again, I tell this story because it talks about you personally. You're like, I might be being a little bit of a bitch. You're right. I probably took that wrong. Let's reset. We had our whole conversation. Perfect. Yeah. Right? There was a guy, they were looking at the Tesla, talking about the Tesla. Lisa's with me. And this lady comes, I got to see the inside. And another guy. And then this guy gets out of his car and starts calling me a pussy for having a Tesla and this and that and the other. And I'm laughing. But everybody around me, they thought that I would go try to beat this guy up because he's...
Stop it, sir. I drive a Tesla. I don't fight.
Yeah. Stop it. Stop it. But Lisa looks at me. She goes, is that guy calling you names? I'm like, yeah. And it's like so funny to us. But, these days, everybody gets so upset being talked to like that. Like, I think it's funny. Somebody gets mad. Like, I want them to tell me if they're pissed off or give me a hard time. Then I can at least debate with them, argue with them, try to fix it. The ones that don't have the guts to say anything and just bitch and moan about everything or cry about everything, like, there's no avenue for me to do business with those people or talk to those people because you can't have a conversation.
Yeah.
Even if you disagree, so disagree.
Oh, my God. The guy in the 1982 Ranger freaking with a ponytail and bald hair and a freaking Budweiser hat's teasing me.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. Hey, bro, you failed that life already.
Right.
But let's talk about another controversial subject. I drive Kevin Gannon absolutely nuts on this, reviews. Because I don't give a shit about reviews. I argue with my people that give me a bad review. I'm like, nope, you're full of shit, and this is why. And I freaking go right back.
I do the same thing.
He's like, do you want me to answer? No, I'm good.
No.
So
I agree that sometimes, like Jason Wechter told me, good friend of mine, good attorney, lawyer for life, does all kinds of disability crashes.
You'll get a bill for plugging him on the podcast.
Yeah. So greatest attorney I know. Just amazing. But he used to say, like, for instance, I got sued ridiculously for $250,000, totally fraudulent, right? So he says, well, hey, now you're somebody. So what do you mean? He goes,
God damn, I said that. My lawyer said the same thing to me.
He says, you're not anybody till you've been sued for something stupid.
That's lawyer talk, because David said the same thing to me a few months ago.
And the same thing about reviews. If you don't have any bad... In fact, one of my parents at Storm wrote, I'm very nervous about websites that don't have bad reviews, but I'm telling you, this place is great. There's a reason they don't have any bad reviews, and I'm sure I'll eventually get one. I'm not saying that.
Do you want me to give you one today? Well, later.
You can give me one, yeah. But she literally said, I was skeptical because I couldn't find a bad review, because that's very common. So to your point is, but I do the same thing. I outline what happened because I have receipts. So when you have the receipts to show that what really happened, that's all you can do. It's just like politics. They can choose to believe, Elon's the devil, or he's saving us billions of dollars in tax money.
I think he's saving us $1 billion of tax money. Now, there is people that are more upset that he's saving us money, that he's there saving us money than saving us money.
Yeah.
That makes sense. It's like...
It doesn't. I know sometimes I do debate with people, but it's pointless. They're never going to read anything substantial that will give them the evidence they want. So he's posting it online. He's telling you if he made a mistake. Yeah, he made a mistake. So what? Like, this is a messy thing. I mean, we got to $1 trillion in debt with a bunch of mistakes. We can sure make one or two figuring it out.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean?
Well, the problem is we work our asses off for these people to waste it at the top level or steal it.
Yeah.
Let's face it.
Yeah, they're stealing it.
Well, they're stealing it.
Well, they haven't addressed it. You notice how quiet they're about who got the money?
Yeah.
I think that's the other shoe that's going to drop. Because that's why they're panicking. That's why they're trying to kill Elon. They're trying to kill Trump. I guarantee there's 10 people trying to kill those guys right now.
Oh, hell yeah.
You know?
But how can a politician make $155,000 a year, be in politics for 5 years, and be worth $29 million? Mm-hmm. And they're like, well, they do good, they public speaking engagements. For what?
Yeah.
$2.5 million a piece. They do one every day.
It's just a racket.
It's a racket, exactly it. So,
well, we've been suppressed for all this time, so I don't feel bad telling all the libtards that I'm very excited opening X and looking at the Doge report of all the money that's being cut.
Oh my God, it's like Christmas morning.
It's like Christmas morning
every day.
morning.
What is he going to do?
Yep.
What is he going to do? Like, I cannot wait till
we shut up and didn't attack anybody, even though they claim we did. We never misbehaved. We didn't do the stuff they're doing, but it's our time now to at least enjoy reading.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, they're melting down. It's great. I love it. And and my thing is, when the people start arguing, I'm not going to argue that you lost, we won. Suck it up.
My new pronouns are we won.
Yeah, exactly. All right, that's it. That's the end of part 2. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.